Okay. Is it? Okay.
Yes, yes.
All the best,
Thank,
yeah. All
yes,
right.
thank you, sir. All right, good to see everyone. I think this is the sixth session. Anyway, let's not start rating our performance, but the most important thing is we've been doing our best to ensure we keep pushing the knowledge boundary forward. We keep extending our knowledge frontiers. Of course, there's a wise saying that says, if you want to do more, then you have to know more. So in today's class, our plan is to help you know more because when you know more, we believe somehow it's going to impact on your performance in the exam. Of course, knowledge is an influence. So if you know what we're learning today, somehow it's going to influence your performance in that exam. So today I'm talking to you about stress. Not only on stress, but we're going to kickstart the session with stress. I'll share my screen, talk to you very briefly about that. Um, then we'll move on. Oh, wait. Okay, now this. Okay, so we have it here. So we have stress syllable and stress pattern. Stress syllable and stress pattern. Okay, I said stress is not an optional free in English. That should have some meaning and then that should have some implication. I'm sure, I mean, some of us who are very familiar with the English language based sections, or maybe we're familiar with accent TV series. Okay, for example, you talk about CNN, BBC, you talk about some of these channels, or you talk about movies. Some of us watch American movies a lot. You realize that, and definitely too, I mean, you've been a student of this language for some years. You do know that technically there is a way the white, so to speak, there's a way the white people speak their own English, so to speak. Now let's say their own English. There's a way they speak their own English, of which we don't speak as that way. And one major difference is accent and intonation. Now, we're saying stress is not an optional free, which simply means that the white man didn't design stress to impress anyone. It's just the language. It is the nature of the language. It is an essential characteristic of the language. Every language has its own uniqueness. Stress is unique to the English language. We're going to find out what stress represents and how it plays out in reality. So in reality, when someone says, oh, she's better off, or she's better than his friends, she's better than his friends. If you observe the way I pronounce my better, you see, I didn't sound better. I didn't say better. I said she's better than his friend. In fact, you almost can't even hear the last part of it. It looks like, she's better than his friend. It looks like I'm not even pronouncing the ta. You see, it is not to impress anyone. It is just the uniqueness of the English language. And that's where you have to learn about stress. Now, let's go on. Basically, another word for stress is speechness or loudness. When we talk about stress, you can't, I mean, if that doesn't make sense to you, let's say one word I can help that makes sense to you, which is loudness. We know when something is loud, when something is audible. Stress cannot be discussed in isolation or syllable. That makes a lot of sense to me. You cannot talk about stress unless you have to talk about syllables. And you wouldn't talk about syllables unless you have to talk about words, because words are made up of syllables. And that's why in my presentation today, I said, what's a syllable? A syllable is a unit of sound. Words, as a matter of fact, are made up of syllables. Let's see some examples. Okay, boy, girl, that may not really make more sense to us. But let's see the word that makes sense, which is the bisyllabic words. Look at this example. I will pronounce them maybe all wrongly. Yeah, I'm going to pronounce them all wrongly so that we can first make sense of them. I'll say better. I'll say singer, mentor, actor, 14, MC, lady, undo, joyful, about, perfect, export. Okay, all of those words, like I've said earlier on, I didn't pronounce them correctly, so to speak. All right, so I said better, but I emphasized both syllables. better. So we can have this understanding of the fact that these are two syllables. One is be, the other one is ta. Okay, and that's why we said the English wise is made up of syllables. So we have the be and we have the ta, and we say better, two syllables. So some English words have two syllables, and we call them bisyllabic words. Don't forget your bicycle. You call it bicycle because it has two wheels. Bi. So bi generally means two. So we have bisyllabic words representing words with two syllables, and we can see all of those examples. I'll say them again. We have better, we have singer, we have mentor, we have 14, we have actor, okay, I mentioned that. We have MC, lady, undo, joyful, about, perfect, export, two syllables. Now there's something about it. In as much I've done my best to just say how I can emphasize them so we can see. Now, if we're going to pronounce all of these words correctly, what you observe is it will look like I am silencing either of the syllables. And that's what stress means. Stress means you have to raise your voice somewhere and then lower it somewhere. If I have two syllables, it means one of the syllables will enjoy loudness, the other one will be denied of loudness. So when I say bearer, you can see you could almost not hear the ta. All right. When I say singer, she's a singer. Okay. I don't have to say she's a singer. When I say she's a singer, then I'm not stressing the sing. All right. She's a singer. She's a singer. She's a singer. I don't have to emphasize the ga. You see, it may not make sense to you, but the most important thing is at least you need to understand it. You must understand how it works. That's the way the English language work. They are words. And I said it's unique to them. You may say this is crazy. I think I'm on your side. I've also said the English language is a crazy language, so I have no doubt about it. But that's the way it is designed. I will have to respect the design. It's just like your car has been designed in such a way that you can accelerate it. You just have to respect the design. So when you are approaching a bomb, you don't accelerate. If you do, then one is actually going somewhere. Maybe it's to a place, I don't know, maybe to a place of no return. You see, that is it. It is the design of the car, and you have to respect it. It doesn't matter whether you're the owner or not. So the same thing happens to this English language. You just have to respect it. Now, it doesn't matter whether it makes sense to you or not, but as a language, the language says if you have a two-syllable word, all right, or the technically known as bisyllabic words, you should stress one and unstress the other. And when you look at the next word, she's my mentor. All right. The wrong one is she's my mentor. She's my mentor. So if you have a two-syllable word and I can hear the two syllables, that means something is wrong. There is a syllable that should be louder than the other. And in linguistics, you say prominence. I need to give prominence to either of the syllables. And this is one of the reasons some people who are not very much familiar with this basic understanding, they say when they listen or they watch some American movies or listen to news on CNN, BBC, they can hardly make sense of what maybe the broadcasters are saying because they don't. It's English language these guys are speaking, but they couldn't make sense of it. Like, what's happening? What is he saying? See, it's because it's not going to stress all the syllables, especially when it's faced with two syllable words. He knows the one to stress and the one not to stress. And that's what is happening here. See, another one is 14. All right, there are 14 of them. 14 of them. You see, the teen is louder. The 14 of them, not there are 14. If you say 14, that means the 4 and the teen, they are equal in sound. They shouldn't be equal in sound. There are 14 of them. 14 of them. Teen, you're going to stretch that teen. All right? There are 14 of them. You see, like I said, you now realize that sincerely, the language is, so to speak, not delicious when we actually stress. You really enjoy it. It makes a lot of sense because it's musical. That is the music in the language. All right? They're just 14. No, they are just 14. They're just 14. No, they are just 14. All right. So these are the things we need to know about this language. Now, guess what? You cannot learn about a language without also learning about this essential part of that language. And that's why we say stress is not an optional trait. But how does this play out in the case of the examination? I said, okay, let's look at this. Exam simulation, the way it happens in the exam. In the exam, nobody is going to ask you, okay, come on, pronounce this word. Okay, interact with the examiner or with the interlocutor for 5 minutes, so the interlocutor is able to say how you pronounce, whether you accentuate words properly. You see, no time for that. Look at the number of people going for the exam. It shouldn't make any sense. All right. But then you can prove it in another form. So this is how you have to prove it in another form. Take, for example, choose the option with a different stress pattern. I'm sure some of us are familiar with stuff like that. Yeah, choose the option with a different stress pattern, or perhaps another way is choose the option with a stress on the first syllable. So sometimes you're told where the stress is. Oh, there are 4 options here. Choose the one with a stress on the first syllable, or choose the one with a different stress pattern. These are the 4 options. I'm going to pronounce them wrongly now. Better, actor, favor, 14. You see, if you pronounce it that way, you won't be able to tell, oh, which one is that to be stressed, which one is, you see the whole thing. One thing I've realized in this journey of life is, you see, ignorance makes things frustrating. All right, almost everywhere you find frustration, there's ignorance. So if you sometimes you have this alarmness just because there is lack of knowledge. There are some of us who don't even like this language, we don't even like this part of this language. But guess what? It's just because of the lack of the knowledge of it. There's no big deal there. Sincerity is an easy part of it. Now, look at the way it works. There are some rules, and I'm going to say common rules that guide stress pattern for bisyllabic words. If because you're not aware of these rules, and guess what? Whatever you don't know, you can handle. Okay, so because you're not aware. A lot of things, you can sometimes I think about it. You could marvel at how planes fly in the sky. It doesn't make like, how does it do it? How does it live? But do you know that is not in any way surprising to a pilot? In fact, it should be maddening if a pilot is wondering at the flight of a plane. And the pilot is wondering, why is it going up? Why is it making this navigation? Why is it doesn't? I mean, that would be something, I mean, it should be a sicky situation, like the pilot must be sick. You see, but for us, we begin to see these things as wonderments. Like, wow, oh, God is good, God is great. But sincerely, it has nothing to do with that. It's just that you don't understand how it works. Those who have been trained will understand how it works. They know they are the ones directing all of those things. They know they are the one making him to do everything he does. So it's not a plane. They are the one doing everything. Okay, so there's no wonderment at all. So the same thing happens here. There's no wonderment at all. Like, how did you know it was A and not B? Honestly, there's nothing. It's just the knowledge you need to be exposed to, and basically maybe the rules. Now, if you look at these 4 options, we said the correct answer is D. D has a stress on the second syllable, while others have theirs on the first syllable. Now the question is, see, how am I supposed to? You see, you are speaking about your whole knowledge now. My knowledge is making things easier for me. So which means if you have the same knowledge, it's going to make it easier for you. My knowledge may not, so what we do here is to light you up, share my knowledge with you, so that you can do the same thing for you as it does for me. Okay, so then, of course, you know there will always be a choice about everything, whether to receive it or not, to work with it or not. Now, this is how I knew that D should be stressed. This is how I knew that D was the answer. 14 common rules that guide stress pattern. The first one is ER. Remember, we're working on bisyllabic words with 2 syllables. We're still going to talk about polysyllabic words, where you talk about democracy. Which syllable should be stressed? Is it democracy or democracy? Democracy, you know, what you stress determines how you pronounce that word, because democracy has 4 syllables. It has 4 syllables, and just one of them will go up. So there is a way you have to pronounce it that one of them must have prominence over the others. So if you say democracy, I don't even say the one that is unique. Democracy, none of them is unique. If you say democracy, none of them is unique. If you say photograph, none of them is unique. One of those labels should be unique. How? by rising above the other ones in terms of pronunciation. Sincerely, this language is delicious. Now, we're talking about ER. So this ER, where you have two syllable words, you don't stress the ER. That was why I knew that I can't, that was why I knew that the stress on beta, wrongly pronounced, the stress on beta is on the bet, not the ta, because I'm not by rule, I'm not allowed to stress ER. Can you see it's easy now with the rules? But guess what? You will not have to do the laboring. There must be labor in all things. It is your labor that will make you to own these rules. All right, it's not going to be your labor. So you cannot choose to labor into them, so you can learn them, you can master them. And the other one is also clear. Of course, there are always two paths before us. One is not one is convenient, the other is not. But it's always good to follow the inconvenient path. That's one that leads somewhere. Okay, so it's not convenient to find time, sit down, prepare, try to remember, try to learn, practice, learn again, use a dictionary, I mean, if you say it's not easy, I totally agree with you. It's not. But that thing that is not easy is what works. You see, the easy one that has never worked. All right, you can imagine yourself, you have an exam, and all you do is throw yourself up, on the couch, watch TV, enjoy yourself, take this sugar drink, yogurt, go out, swim, cinema. I mean, what a beautiful experience. Very, very memorable. But when you get to the exam, you realize that it won't help that exam. It will not work. But like someone you find, who hibernate themselves, study very rigorous, wake up midnight, find time in the office, just try, read, come up from church, get busy, deny themselves. You see, it's a very rigorous life, not interesting at all. But that's what produces results. So this life experience has shaped my approach to life. So if it is easy, be careful again. Ask us if it is easy. It may not be leading anywhere. All right, but if it's tough, it may be leading somewhere. It may be leading somewhere. All right, back to the English section. So ER, I leave you guys to learn these rules for yourself, but I'm just going to guide you through. So ER, you don't stress ER, and as I know, it's going to be better and not better. You don't stress OR, so I got to know it's actor. He's an actor, not actor. He's an actor. He's an actor. I'm pronouncing the top, but it's small, so to speak now. All right, he's an actor. I'm not saying he's an actor. He's an actor. I'm pronouncing the top, but I lower the. He's an actor. Then you have favor. So I also know I'm not to stress OR. Favor. I also know I'm not to stress favor, just like my neighbor. I'm also stress OUR. So it is favor. Favor. All right, we need to thank God for the favor. And all we need to thank God for the favor. Favor. The both of them are equal. All right, can we thank God for the favor? Favor. Favor. The voice is going to be lower. Then, all right, she's 14 today. She's 14 today. The teen, how am I supposed to know? Now please let's get back. You may need to make some choices now. ER, OR, OUR. Those first three, you don't stress them. You don't stress the ER. You don't stress the OR. You don't stress the OUR. You don't stress them. Okay? You don't stress the ER, the OR, and the OUR. You don't stress them. However, you have to stress the EE, like we have in MC. So it's MC. You see, the C is long. MC. All right, it's going to be the MC. The C is longer. It's going to be the MC. So we're going to stress the EE. All right, which other word can you think of a two-syllable word that ends in EE? Okay, mentee. All right, is my mentee. You see, the T, E is longer. So you have to stress the EE. EEL, like we saw in the case of 14, you have to stress the EEN in that kind of word. Now for prefix, please, we don't stress prefix. Let's think about an example of prefix. Just really, I'm thinking of a two-syllable word with a combination of a prefix and something else. Oh, good. Redo. Redo. Do is a basic word. Re is the prefix. Redo. So the re in that context is a prefix. You don't stress a prefix. So you can, so it is the do that will have to be given prominence, not a re. Another example could be deface. Deface. When you spoil something, you know, sometimes they say, oh, you are defacing Lagos, you are spoiling Lagos by pasting your posters, you know, unscrupulously. So deface. You also have, okay, deface. So you don't stress the D, you stress the face. All right. So we also don't stress suffix. We also don't stress suffix. Joyful. You're not going to stress the full. Joyful, 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 full. The full is going to be lower. All right, she's joyful. She's joyful, joyful. The full is going to be lower. No, she's joyful. All right, so you're not going to stress the full. So that's a suffix. Can I also have another suffix? Another suffix could be goodness, 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 and that's goodness. The ness and the good should not be equal. In English, two syllables are not equal. One will always be superior to the other. So when you say goodness, your good and your ness are equal. That tells you you're not pronouncing it correctly. So it should be goodness, goodness, goodness. All right. So that's just the law, and that can guide you. All right. So that's for suffix. Wait, please. I think I've not asked you guys some questions. I need to be sure. All right. Is it making some sense to you, please? You can use the comment section. Okay, gift. Okay, Lillian. Yeah. So we need to know if this is making sense and helping too. All right, Paul. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so we also have the ing. We also don't stress ing. We don't stress ing. For example, dancing. The scene is not going to be equal to dance. When you say she's dancing, the dance and the scene are equal. They shouldn't be. That's an aberration in language. She's dancing, dancing. The scene is going to be small. She's dancing. You see, that's why that's the way the English language sounds. Very interesting. She's dancing, so the scene is going to be small. So you know you don't stress ing. So by the time you begin, you're in the exam and you start making your choices. I mean, let's say for example you're allowed to communicate, and you find an ignorant client. He's wondering, an ignorant candidate is wondering, I mean, how is it that you're doing this way? You're very lucky. There's no luck there. There are rules. It's not just aware there are rules. And some of them are even aware there are rules. But they can't go through the labor of learning the rules for themselves. And there's nothing we can do about it. So if you don't find it important to learn, then it's not important to you. Those who find it important are going to do it. Remember, not everything is going to be important to everyone. Now, number 9, word class dependent. Now, some two-syllable words will be stressed differently depending on their word class. In case you have not mastered your word class, of course, please, you have to do that. Word class is the same thing as a parts of speech. There are 8 of them. But then, interestingly, some words could function as 2 things. You can have a word that could function both as a verb and as a noun. This word perfect could function 2 ways. It could function as an adjective or as a verb. So it matters. So when it functions as an adjective, you stress the first syllable, perfect. Oh, she's a perfect man. Perfect man. The other one is going to be lower. She's a perfect. Oh, sorry, I beg your pardon. He's a perfect man. Perfect man. So the fit is going to be lower. But then if it's a verb, I need you to perfect the document. So instead of, I need you to perfect the document. Per and fet, both of them cannot be equal. I need you to perfect. The fact is going to be the big one. I need you to perfect the document. Okay, so that's when perfect, perfect, is treated as a verb. Perfect. But when you treat it as an adjective, perfect is a perfect person. All right, that's the way it works. That's language for you, crazy, but then worth knowing to save your day in the exam. All right, then not all bisyllabic words are covered by these rules, not all of them. For example, lady, maybe I didn't tell you, oh, if a word ends in dy, no. Not all of them are covered. Not all these words are covered. So I call them the ruleless ones. Some of them are not under these rules. They're not protected by these rules. You have to be guided by your dictionary. You watch out for the stress mark in case you're wondering, oh, but in the exam, I wouldn't have access to the dictionary. Well, and that's where the knowledge of these rules will help you, because some of your options will come under these rules. And at the end of the day, you may find yourself thinking through just only two options instead of four. So you can have, okay, I know this ER one, I know this OUR, I know this EEN. So it looks like if it's not A, then it might be D. At least at that place, you have narrowed your chances. You have broadened your chances, and you have improved your likelihood of securing that question. Okay, all right. So I said now we're going to test ourselves. So I'm going to change this slide to something else. For the next slide, just for a minute. And there we'll have the opportunity just to practice two questions, just only two. After that, then we'll go talk to you about polysyllabic words. How does it work? Poly. Just a minute, I'm trying to get something here. All right, so here we go. So we have something else on the screen. All right, so look at this word. Look at this word. Though it's rightly pronounced women, no woman, women. Oh, now you can see this. There is a stress mark here, like a speech mark. There's a stress mark. That thing looks like like an apostrophe. You have two syllables, we and me. You have the stress mark coming after the we. It tells you have to stress the syllable that has that one. So the syllable that has the stress mark is the mean. So that means it's going to be women. And some pronoun women. So it's going to be the mean that will be louder. Okay. If you look at words like dictates, follow. You know, some people pronounce it that follow, follow. It's not o. The first one is o, the second one is o. Follow him. O and o, not o, not follow, not o, is follow. Then you have ac. Some of us don't pronounce our ac. Some of us pronounce that number as accept. He has accepted. But there is a K there. The C is accept. She has accepted it. So a lot of troubles when we do all of these things. A lot of troubles. But then the idea is at least you are aware, even though we might not be doing the right thing, but at least we are aware makes a lot of sense. Then we have the step. Look at these 4 ways. I want you to you can use a phone, please. Because these days most of us don't have table dictionary. You can use a phone. I want you to wait a minute. This is what I want you to do. Let me snipe it so you can see what I want you to do for me. So this is the first exercise. This could just take us around 5 minutes or so. There's nothing much here. Okay, so this is what I want us to do. I want you to use your phone How do you think this word should be written? Dictate. Do you think this should be written this way? Which of them is to be stressed? Is this a dick? And this one is state, the small one. Or it is this way, and then the tate is bigger. So which way? So all you need to do is use your phone. You cannot guess at it. Type this word on your phone and learn to include learn to include the word transcribe. That is, transcribe it. Let me see. When it transcribes it, watch out for the stress mark, something like this. So if you find it here, that means it's the DIC that should be in bold. If you find it here, that means it's this TAT. All right, so I want you to type out how these 4 words are to be written properly. Which one should be stressed? So the way you do it for me is if you look at dictates, if you have checked it and it looks like it is the DIC part, write that in big, and then this one is small letter. Do the same thing for number 2, number 3, number 4. All right, and then send through your text. So we can get busy with that now. At least this one you have to use a dictionary, you have to use a phone, so it's faster. Just watch out for the stress mark. Type it out. How do you think? So let's see. So it's a student section time. The students are busy trying to answer some questions. And you are allowed to use a dictionary, whether it's a dictionary or your phone or your digital dictionary. All right, so Nobody has turned their hand. What's happening? Is it tough? Gibbs, what's happening? Is it tough? Ah. Uh, Vanita, are you finding this tough? Something goes, okay, Nikki and Lillian, Mr. Paul, what's happening? I'm finding it tough or easy. Okay, thank you. I think Paul has submitted one. Okay, thank you. I can see we started submitting them. Okay, yeah. Okay. I know you would like to pronounce them. So now that you actually understand that, yeah. Now that you know that the syllables should not have the same um, pronunciation level, you know. Paul, would you like to try? Okay, give you one to try. Okay, go ahead, please.
I have a question. I don't want to pronounce.
Okay.
That first one, dictate, it has two different type of stressing. Like the first one, you can stress it as dictate for noun, and then the second one, dictate, when is a verb. So I want to know, what if we come across it in jam? Which one will you now put? Is it
No.
dictate?
In JAM, it's going to be specified. I think JAM is going to specify if the dictate in question is a verb. I don't know if you're familiar with that. You'd have seen it. There's going to be a bracket, then you have verb in it. Bracket, and you have now. Yes, JAM is going to do that for you. So you know. I think that is common with export, import. You will definitely see it. They are also aware it has some of them what do you call it? What class determine. So it is the what class that will determine how you are stressed. So in that situation, they will clearly tell you we're talking about the noun. Yeah, thank you, Gil. So they will tell you we're talking about the noun, not about the verb, and vice versa. I think with this one we're fine. So this should lead us to the two questions I actually prepared for us. I just prepared only two questions. The first one is what we have done. And so let me just make the three questions available. For this one, don't use a dictionary. Just try. Let me share my screen. Just try. Don't use a dictionary, please. Or do I put it this way? At least test yourself first. Maybe after you have tested yourself, I mean, just to see, oh, if this were to be an exam, would I have got the questions correctly? Test yourself. You see, my I don't want to okay, let me pronounce it wrongly. My convert, I'm trying to write verb there. So that V means verb. Because you have convert as a verb, convert as a noun. So I'm talking about the verb. Okay, but please, what I expect you to do is, just try. I understand it. Yeah. So we have number one, we have number two. Just use the letters. If you think this number one is B, this is A. Okay. Now, but this is what I want you to do. I just don't want us to make it any kind of assessment. Once you have written before, but once you have typed out your answers, okay. Now, by yourself, go use your dictionary. All right. Of course, you already know how to determine the which of the syllables to be stressed. You just need to pay attention to the stress mark. Okay. So go back now. Use your table dictionary or online dictionary to check the state of what you have done, whether you are right or wrong. I mean, that should help you. Okay. So it's not about you can tell now, but do it yourself unaided. Don't use any assistance. When you're done, go verify yourself. All right. So you do the verification. I've actually taught you how to verify that. Do the verification yourself, and then just to check whether you're right or you're wrong, and they just have to learn it. It's as simple as that. And after that, class continues or proceeds with polysyllabic words. And that's when you have more syllables in the word, like democracy, 4 syllables, congratulations, 5 syllables. I mean, yeah, you also still need to stress. How do you know what to stress? So I'll be talking to you about some rules too. Maybe provided with about 10 rules. You see, it's now left to you to be able to labor into understanding them or making those rules something you can work with too. And after that, we're going to have a short quiz on synonyms and antonyms. Very important because it constitutes 70% of that exam. Okay. Okay. Paul has his answers. Okay, Gift, can you please check? Paul. You see, there's a contradiction. Both of you aligned with the first question, but the second question, one says B. Please, can you verify using your online dictionary just to check? Use your dictionary, and so you can just and make the self correction. Okay, 2 is A. Oh, okay. Oh, okay, that's fine. All right, let's just wait for the just 3 minutes left, please, in case you are working on that. I want everybody to be able to work on it. Okay, I think we need to proceed. So let's proceed. Now we're moving to polysyllabic words, words with many syllables. And so we're trying to learn what to stress in that circumstance. I'm trying to, okay. Okay, I think I have it now. Okay. So when you look at this, these are examples of polysyllabic words. Poly means more than two. So we have democracy. I think democracy has 4. This one has 4. This one has 4 words. Congratulate. Okay, this one also has 4 syllables. Oh. Okay. Let's start with that word. Now, this one too anchors on rules. If you're familiar with the rules, you just realize that, wow, this is quite easy. For example, this is where you need to stress. This more. This is where you need to stress. Now, for this one, we start our counting from the ra. Ra means behind. So this is them more. Just want to be. So we'll start our counting from the rear, like I mentioned, and that means this CY is 1, this cray is 2, this mo is 3, and this there is 4. So what the rule says is, if you find a word that ends in anything plus y, let's say C plus y, any letter plus y, this one is cy. So it's not just about cy, it's about anything plus y. For example, G plus y, that's G. You can think about some example for that, like biology. What do you get? Something plus y. What can come with y again? Okay, you can also have ny, n plus y. So you have balcony. Okay, so you have balcony, you have biology, you have democracy, anything plus y. Okay, so what the rule says is you should come from the back and circle the third one. So this one, you have to stress the third syllable. So you come from the back. So this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. You have to stress the third one, and that is, there is no way to tell. So if you now go through your dictionary, you now realize, so your dictionary is going to do something like this: democracy, then you're going to find a speech mark here. Let me find a speech mark here. But because you won't have access to the dictionary, all right, some of them are under rules. So we're looking at those ones that are under rules. Like words that end in something y, cy, gy, ny, anything y, they are covered by the rules. Don't forget you start your counting from the back, and then you circle the third syllable. So that's how to deal with this. If you think about another example, can we have another example of a word that ends in cy? Is there a word that ends in cy again? Okay, I think I remember this one now. This one just came from me. Monotony. Oh, sorry, monotony. So this is something y. It's going to be the third one. So which means I'm just going to count 1, 2, 3, and the third one receives the stress. This is 1, 2, 3. Okay. And that means this one should be written this way. So that's the way it works. It's simple. Now, congratulate. Congratulate also behaves like that. Congratulate also behaves like that. You circle the third one. So this is gra. Congratulate also behaves like that. You circle the third one. So don't forget, you do your counting from the back. Okay. Now, like I've mentioned, you now need to labor into this understanding to make sure you gain ownership of it. You don't forget it. And that's something I might not be able to do for you, but at least I can share with you some of the rules about the polysyllabic way. So this one too, we can see. So they are actually guided by rules. Okay. So what I want to do now is I will give you 6 words, and I will write you to stress them. I should have actually come up with them in the form of what they call it, options A, B, C, D, but I didn't do that. What I did was just to write the words. Then I would need you to determine whether the stress should land on the first, on the second, or on the third, or on the fourth. Where do you think the stress should land? Don't worry, I'm going to still give you the rules, but let's just see what you can do on your own. All right. I understand you have the choice to use a dictionary, but please don't. Just try, just try. I mean, after all, it's not an award winning quiz. We're not awarding anything. All right. So I've sent that also to the group WhatsApp. So now I want to share the class exercise. There are 6 words here. I need us to determine I need us to stress them. All you need to do is rewrite them in a way that will show the stress. If you think the stress should be on the third one, so you write it, make the third one. I mean, I've shown you some examples. Okay, that's what I want you to do now. All right, I know you're waiting for the question. Yeah. All right, so back to us. 6 questions. Think about photograph. Okay, so think about photograph. Let's say, for example, if I think photographs should be like this, maybe the first one should be the one to be stressed, then I'm going to write it like this. Photograph. And if I actually think it is the graph, so I'm going to write it this way. Photograph. Okay, so whichever way. All right. So we have 67 minutes to deal with this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 67 minutes. Rewrite each of the words with the stress. Remember in the exam, the only difference is, maybe the PHO will be in capital, the TO, another option capital, the GRE, another, but that's the only difference. Question number 1 is okay. Okay, maybe you're trying to do something. CTPY, I don't get it. For the class exercise, I will need you to write it out. Let's say, of course, you actually know what I'm saying. Don't use a dictionary yet, though. Don't use a dictionary. They're all covered by rules. So I'm just going to share the rules with you. Okay. I think, okay, Paul has shared this with us. Let's get from two or more people. All right, thank you, Paul, for sharing that with us. All right, we're waiting for the others. Only Paul has sent is. Maybe let's just get from one or two more persons and then we'll proceed. Okay, Lillian, thank you. Okay, let's take the corrections. All right, so let's take the corrections and then the rules, basically the rules. Now, number one, you see, for words that end, you must for words that end in, oh sorry. For words that end in graph, you can think about more examples. For words that end in graph, you have to stress the third one. Of course, remember you have to come from your back. You have to stress the third syllable, which means it's going to be this one. 1, 2, 3. So it's going to be this. Photo is going to be the third one. I may not be numbering it again. This is 2. This is 1. So if a word ends in graph, please stress the third one. Of course, we talked about this one. Anything plus y, you have to also stress the third one. Anything plus y, you have to stress the third one. Then capitalism, ism also. Oh, sorry. For ism, you have to stress the third one as well. Okay, this one, we talked about this one, anything plus y, which is also third. Commemoration, this one is anything shown. This one is the second one. Now, communicable, anything boo, this one is the third one. But there's something about that boo. Yeah, anything boo is also the third one. They're just basically rules to master. So now let's look at the last one. I see 1 or 2 questions for us about this. Let's quickly look at them. Okay, so let's try this one. Not all of them come under rules, but all these one consistently come under rules. So let's round up this discussion on stress syllable and stress pattern. And we're going to round up using GHIJK. And after that, like I've mentioned, I want you to take a vocabulary quiz. Most likely, this section will end. It's going to end 15 minutes earlier. So by 1:45, I'll round up with this section. All right, let's turn in our answers. 5 minutes. Paul, you only attempted one, and that was agreement. What about photogenic, okay, non-communicable, facilitate, oh, okay, you did for agreement only.
I give the rest. They are up.
I can't find them. They're not here. Oh, okay, yeah, I can see them. I can see them. I can see them. Let's just get for from one more person, and then okay, let's share the answer. Let's discuss the answers. Now we're talking about nominee. Now this one, when the word ends in EE, so you have to stress that EE itself. So you have to stress the EE itself. You have returning. When a word ends in IC, not NIC, just IC, you have to stress the second syllable. Now, if you look at this non-communicable, this one has a prefix. None is a prefix. If a word ends in BLE, but starts with a prefix like this, you have to stress the word that comes immediately after the prefix. So this one, you have to stress the word after the prefix, or the word before the prefix. You have to stress the word before the prefix. The word before the prefix. Then facilitate, we've done that before. I think that the third one. Then agreement. You see, the rule about meant is not consistent. This rule is not consistent. This rule is not consistent. Oh, Lillian, go ahead. Lillian, you raised your hand.
I'm kind of confused.
Okay.
You said if a word ends with able, that's it has
Yeah,
a prefix.
PLE. Okay.
That's the stress is before the prefix.
Now look at this one. Look at the first example. Now look at this word. Credible. It ends in boo. The word it's actually boo. Okay. Then you have communicable, which is just also boo. Okay, you are asked to stress the third one. Oh, mister. Okay, in this instance, you have to stress the third one. So there's no doubt about this. No doubt about this. But sometimes, a word will end in BLE, but that word would have started with a prefix. Krell is not a prefix. Com is not a prefix. But if you think this is non, this is a prefix. Non is a prefix. However, if a word ends in BLE, but unfortunately, the first syllable is a prefix. Here, a word ends in BLE, the first word is not a prefix. So there are two ways to understand this one. So maybe before you apply your third rule principle, ask or check, does it start with a prefix? If it starts with a prefix, you have to emphasize or stress the syllable after the prefix. And the prefix here is none, so this is the one after the prefix. So you have to take this one as there are two ways to understand BLE. There is the BLE without prefix, there is the BLE with prefix. So you deal with them differently. I don't know if that answers your question.
Okay, he answers. Just that the other side, you said the word before the prefix. So I was kind of confused because it is
Okay.
after the prefix.
Okay, yes, after the, oh, sorry, apologies, after the prefix.
Yes.
Okay, so we're done with that. Now let's come to the last section. Yeah, this is the concluding part of our discussion today. I'll just put something on the screen. Let's just show our hands on meanings of words again, and we'll round up. Where is it? Really just 5 words, so we don't have to waste much time. Okay. Okay, so this is it. 1, 2, 3. Let me see the number of questions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11. Okay, let's do everything under 10 minutes. Don't get stuck. Let's do everything up to me. It's synonyms, please. Sorry, I've sent this to the group WhatsApp. Please, I'm going to appeal that you go pick it up there. You can work on it. Once you're done, use your dictionary. I mean, to check what you have done and then learn whatever word you need to learn. I think I'd like to leave now. Just like I said, I'll be leaving earlier, maybe 15 minutes earlier, but it's not maybe 12 minutes earlier. So you can't allow me go. So by God's grace, I wish you strength. Make sure you watch the video. We've learned a lot about what stress, some of the rules that regulates, whether you need to stress the first, the second syllable, the third one. All of those rules are with you. Though not all the English words are covered by the rules, but just at least some of them are covered, but most of them, we can work with them and they're going to help with us. All right. I don't know if you have got some questions for me before we go. Is there any question for me before we go? All right. In the absence of no question, all right. Thank you. In the absence of no question, we'll call it a day. Make sure you enjoy your weekend and keep practicing. May the Lord see us through. Thank you, everyone, for coming today. Thank you. We appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you.